Sinar, you were saying that you that that you've been doing music for the last couple of years to help people. And I was
Yeah,
very interested in that, how the music would help people.
because uh before I have started, trying to do music or even thought about it, I have been myself listening to music and I have been going through rough stages of my life. Like in those stages, I have been listening to some couple of artists and it just made me realize some things about life and how I'm not alone. It helps me to
Mm,
hear from another person that, you know, they're struggling like me. And
yeah.
it helps the person itself to hear something like that because if you think it's happening to you and you only, it's much worse because you think life is really, really unfair at that
Yeah.
point. But
Yes.
hearing from another person that it's not, it helps a lot. And in general, music is always calming to me. And it's art. I like art. I'm a creative person and I love artistic things.
Yes. 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 I do too. Um, the paintings here are my
Yeah,
paintings, and I
I
love to do.
realized
Yes.
they look really good.
Yes. Thank you.
I guess, I've been mostly alone in my entire life. Uh,
Mm,
I have I have had relationships before, but
hmm
most of them, it's been kind of abusive and one-sided.
mm,
I always wanted to be loved or cared in a way, and I have tried to do the same to the other
yes.
person, but never, it was always giving, not getting it back. Always give,
Yeah.
give, give, and you run out at some point. And I have been manipulated and abused in relationships.
Yes.
So I kind of, and on top of this, I never really got along with my friends because I actually don't know why, but I have been alone and struggling with all this alone for years.
Mm,
And still I feel alone. And that's the worst part. I know I'm not alone. I have
mm,
people around me, but you feel alone, and that's the
yes.
worst feeling ever.
Absolutely. I so understand that, and I so agree with you that feeling alone is the worst thing
Yeah,
ever. And the
it-
and the music helps you to feel like, well, I may be alone right now in my life, but I'm not alone in the world. There are people
yes,
who experience this and other people who feel like they're giving and giving and not receiving and feel like life is unfair.
yeah. It's it's tough, feeling alone because I always said this. Feeling alone is much worse than being alone. It's much worse
Yes.
because I've experienced both, and feeling alone is was the worst part of my life. It stayed on me.
It stayed since you were a little kid.
Yes, it stayed like a leech throughout
Oh,
my whole life. It has been there, and I'm just realizing it. And I have been getting progress because I realized that, there was a leech like that. So
mm,
I'm kind of getting progress a little bit. I have never been getting progress before, but that's why I'm kind of happy that I got progress with John Dash. And yeah, it's tough feeling
I,
like that.
I love what you're saying there, though, that there's this image of you with this leech on
Yeah,
you of aloneness, feeling alone, and you're making progress with Jean d'Arc in knowing that that leech is there and wanting wanting to get rid of it.
yeah. The thing with me is, if I don't realize what the problem is, I can't solve it.
Mm,
That goes for everything. Like, let's say there was a leak in your house on
yeah.
pipes. If you don't locate that leak, you're not gonna fix it. You have to replace the pipe. You have to locate where it is to fix it.
Yes.
So that's how it is for me because most of the time, what I go through or the cause or the reason for what I go through is on my subconscious.
Yes.
So that because of that, I have to experience the worst of it. I have to kind of isolate myself to realize what's the main problem, to
Mm,
ask myself, why do I feel this way?
yes. Yes.
In
Yes.
general, I go like my mom and dad are separated. I sometimes go to my dad and I hang out with my cousin. But when I do, there always is something behind, like, when I try to run away from the things I go through, they always stay there on the subconscious mind.
Yep.
And I feel bad, and it just stacks up on top of each other. And when it
Yeah.
does, it goes just boom. And
Mm,
I have an anxiety attack, and I have to come back to my mom's to isolate myself, to know what's going on with me. And then I
yes.
can fix that problem.
Yes. Yes. I really get that. You know, I I think that you're agreeing to talk with me today to
Of
meet
course.
John Dash's person. That's a big, right? That's a big step
Yeah.
in in um in getting rid of that leech. Uh,
Yeah.
I had another thought that I wanted to share with you, and that thought about the leak, that therapy is a way to get to know where the leak is. And I had the image of the leak being a leak in the feeling of connectedness. So it runs out and leaves you without any connectedness.
Mm. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yes. My whole life, I've been out of touch, or rather, just how can I, image this? It's like looking from the third person view for my life. Like, I see everyone around me having fun, having friends, or having people that they care, and people that cares about them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting there in the back and just looking at them, watching them, analyzing them, and I haven't
Mm-hmm.
really experienced those feelings completely because I don't really like showing my feelings to other people. I actually don't really do that, and actually not on purpose. It happens automatically. I just
Mm-hmm.
smile, laugh, do things like any other normal person would do.
Mm-hmm.
But behind every smile I do, there's always something going on inside my mind.
Yeah,
Behind
yeah.
every laughter, there's always a pain. A
Let
slight,
me- Yes.
a slight but really powerful pain. Really
Yeah.
potent.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel the pain. And I understand that you don't consciously want to hide yourself, your feelings,
Of course,
but
you know, I don't.
right, but your whole organism doesn't feel safe to show your feelings
Yeah,
because you don't you don't feel the connectedness leaks out, so you feel alone, and then it doesn't feel safe to show the pain.
yes, that's exactly what it is. And some people in my life have, I guess, made fun of me having struggling about these things. That's another thing that makes me unconnected.
Mm,
That
yes.
makes the leak worse, a lot
Yes.
worse, because now it turned into trauma that I can't
Yes.
control.
Yes. 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 The leak turns into trauma if people make fun of you.
Yeah,
Yes. That's even worse in a way than feeling alone, is to feel alone and then feel uh humiliated, or you know
for feeling
you
that way, yeah,
yeah, that is it's such a horrible feeling. And I've had that feeling in my life as a young person. I was made fun of, and it's so awful.
it is.
Yeah.
When I look back in general, I haven't been really fond of living because of these things. I realized that like when I look to my mom's life, my dad's life, or other people's lives, I realize life is about the same. It's an endless cycle of pain. Doesn't really matter. It will always happen. You just get stronger, then a bigger pain comes, a bigger problem comes, and you get even more stronger after that. So I realize it only makes sense if you make it make sense.
Wait a minute, let me get that. It only makes sense when you make it make sense.
Yes.
Like, the meaning has to come from you, and
Yeah.
it makes sense when you're creative, when you want to help people, when you express the sadness in your music.
Yeah.
Makes sense when you make the meaning.
Yeah. A lot of people question the meaning of life, and I just tell them this because that's just the way it is. It it differs from person to person. It only makes sense if you make it make sense. It only has meaning if you make it have a meaning.
Mm,
If you
yeah.
don't, if you don't think it has a meaning, then it doesn't. Because it's your life. Nobody else is living it for you. It's your life, and that's just the way it is. If you think that it has this meaning, or some random meaning, like I guess creativity or helping people, being a good person, then that's the meaning of life for you. It
Mhm.
differs to person from person.
Yes. Can I ask you a very personal question?
Sure.
What is the meaning of life for you? But I don't want you to answer right away, but just to feel it, to see what comes to you about it. just right in this moment, not the answer forever, just, what I mean, just in this moment, what comes to you about your meaning.
My meaning is pain.
Your meaning is pain.
Yeah, simple old pain. Just straight up pain. I have actually given thought about that for a while. I realized in my entire life, it's been an endless cycle of pain. Because if you look at it, I get better, get stronger, and then another bigger obstacle comes. Then I go through it, I get stronger, and another bigger one
Yes,
comes. Life always brings a bigger one, a bigger obstacle.
yes, yes, yes.
So for me, has always been pain when I look back. I have been stressed my entire life. I've never been relieved, never been truly happy. I've always been sad or felt
Mm.
miserable inside, even if I wasn't sad. That I just didn't realize it. I didn't. When I was a kid, I wouldn't be able to. I couldn't.
Yes, yes, I understand.
I was young. I didn't realize what was going inside my mind. But when I'm at this state, I'm older, and now I look back, there was always something going on in my brain. I was always stressed out.
Yes.
As a kid in primary school, I was bullied. In middle school, I was bullied. And also in middle school, I had a relationship um that was one-sided, like I said. And recently I had another relationship which was really pretty much the same as before. Uh
Mm.
and it just didn't last longer because I learned from my mistake that I just didn't um allow for her to manipulate me that much. She said
Uh-huh.
she didn't know if she loved me or not, and I was like, okay, that's a red flag. I'm not gonna get there. So I just said bye, goodbye, and I just left. 'Cause I think that's what I needed to do. If I didn't do that, then I was being manipulated and used.
I feel the poignance and the sadness in that.
Yeah,
That's that the best thing is is to leave, but then you're alone. I had the image that it's the leech of feeling alone, but then it's also this leech of feeling unprotected,
yeah,
unloved, and feeling on the imbalance of you being the giver.
yeah. I I really never felt like I was cared enough. I felt like nobody was respecting me or cared about me at all.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. I picture you as a little kid on the beach walking down to the sand, and instead of having a daddy hold your hand and help you to wade into the ocean, that you have to go all by yourself, and then the wave knocks you down and rubs your face in the sand, and then you get up and you walk a little more, and then another bigger wave comes and knocks you down, and you're getting stronger, but you don't want
There's,
it to be that
yeah,
way.
yeah.
It's not okay for the meaning to just be pain and getting stronger. That's not okay with you. It's not okay with anybody. It's not okay with me that should be for you.
After some point, a body can only take so much. And, for the past couple of months, I have been feeling tired. I felt like I had no energy to, or any will to try to fix myself.
Yes, yes, yes. You have no energy and no will to fix yourself, to get up and go
Yeah,
out further into the ocean.
because it always is the same. Always the same things happen over and over again, in a span of years or lifetimes, I guess. Because it's been happening for 90% of my life, basically. I'm only 18, and this has been happening for about 10 years. When they were divorced, I think I was like a year old or a baby, I guess. I don't remember. I don't recall them being together. I mean, now that I think about it, I do, but it's only one memory.
Yes, what
So
is that memory?
I was playing with my dad. We had a basket, a big one, a red big one, round basket.
Mm.
I was in it. He would
You were in the basket.
yeah, he would play with me each night after work.
Mm.
And my dad and my mom also worked at the time. They both worked. So I was
Yeah.
with my grandmother. My dad, just pushed me around with the basket. He was dragging it around. I was having fun. And I also played, it was a random ball, small one. We were playing with it. There was cars that I was playing with. I remember this one thing. I was really fond of spinning things for no reason. I, my mom told me I once sat in front of the washing machine and watched it for hours without blinking. I I have no idea why, but I did that apparently. And I remember this. I had a big truck toy and I used to spin the wheel with my finger for no reason. And there was also a drying thing, like the drying lettuces manually. So that spinning thing, I loved that as a kid. I used to just put toys in it and spin it around and, you know, do a lot of things. It was fun back then.
Oh, those are wonderful memories.
Yeah.
I love them. It seems like you wanted movement and
Yeah, I don't know. It just
to make things go around, make the world go around.
Yeah, I was doing random things with. I actually didn't use toys as it was supposed to. I always created new things, created new ways to play with them. I was combining toys, like I was combining some figurines with cars.
See what you
Yeah,
could do.
yeah. I wanted to see what would happen if I did this or that. I was just trying things and breaking all my toys while doing it. And my parents had to buy new ones.
Mm.
Yeah, I was an expensive kid.
I see. You were a creative, experimental kid that was
Uh,
expensive.
yeah, I always liked doing something different from other people. I was
Mhm.
like that. It really made me feel different, a bit
Mm.
better, funny.
I get the sense that your mother and father didn't feel to you like they were happy or fulfilled. And You want it to be different.
I mean, it's not about my parents, more like, I mean, in a sense, in my childhood, my mother and my father are the best one I could have asked for.
Huh, uh-huh.
They are not the problem. I know one problem, and it was my grandmother, actually.
Mm,
She's still alive, and well, technically, she is the one who raised me because my mom and my dad was always working. So I was alone with my grandmother, and she raised me basically most of the time. I felt like I had to be up to her standards. I felt she was like a more mother to me than my actual mother because she raised me. I didn't like disappointing her. I wanted to up I wanted to be up to her standards. I wanted to be better, but she never really gave me attention. She was always abusive in some ways. She still is. I can't change her anymore. And practically, I don't really care anymore either. But at the time, I was young, and she always made me feel different, but in a bad way. I feel weird. I
mm,
felt like I was not belong. I didn't belong here. I felt like I
yeah.
didn't belong to this life. Felt like
Mm,
nobody cared about me.
yes.
And back then, I didn't know why it was happening, but with these sessions with John Dash and uh, therapy in general made me realize that she actually sort of was the problem for me not being able to feel being cared about. That that
Yes.
that feeling was never there for me because of her.
Yes.
When I
Yes.
realized that, I was really angry at her, but I was always angry with her for some reason that I didn't know at the time. I was always so, I guess, aggressive towards her. And I
Mm,
didn't know why. It was a subconscious thing. My mom
mhm.
would do the same thing sometimes, and I wouldn't get as mad. But when it comes to her, I was always mad. I even had anger management issues. I don't remember what I did during those episodes, but the only thing I remember are the start and the finish. But during that, I don't. My mind shuts down. It was like a total epileptic seizure almost. I don't
Wow.
remember what happened.
Mm.
I
Almost like
just,
a fit or uh, a rage would come over you
yeah,
and be in the grip of it, of this.
I remember one time but I was holding her like this, and I had my fist up in the air, said, "I'll kill you."
Wow.
I remember that memory
Mm,
so clearly. I told her this 3 times, but I don't remember what happened during those episodes. I just remember saying this and realizing what I'm doing and then letting her go. And,
you
you know,
realize it.
yeah,
Wow.
I realized what I was doing and then I
Yeah.
stopped having the episode. It was like a dream.
Yeah. Like a dream.
Yeah, it was almost like a lucid dream. It's like a reality check at that point. And I realized I did the same thing to my friend too. He was making fun of my depression and other things that I was struggling with. It made me sad, it made me angry at the time, but it didn't really tick me off. It didn't really switch me to the anger mode we were talking about earlier. But he said something about my ex, my relationship, that was just freshly broken up. it was fresh. The pain was fresh, and in my brain something switched.
Mm.
And when that switched, I don't remember what I did. The only thing I remember is I pushed him with one hand, and I knew I wasn't strong enough to beat him, to fight with him. I wasn't. I'm not really confident in my physical ability because, for one, it doesn't make sense to fight people. For two, I'm not that strong. I'm weak compared to other males, I suppose. But I pushed him over, made him lay on his back with one hand, with that adrenaline. That
Mm.
that
Yeah.
adrenaline gave me a lot of strength. No, I don't think in that moment. I really couldn't think.
Yes.
I don't remember anything. I could have killed him. I could have beaten him until he passed out, made permanent damage, paralyzed him. I just controlled myself. The moment I got on top of him and realized that I was doing that, I just stopped.
Let's pause here for a minute and just take in what you're saying, or I'm taking in what you're saying. These
It's a lot.
episodes, these experiences of something in you saying, no, I'm not going to be in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
uh, giving and loving and not getting respect and not getting love. And almost like something in you taking over. And but then you wake up from it when you feel like you are in danger of hurting the other person and you feel your own strength, then you wake up and say, oh, wow, uh, I could really
I didn't
hurt.
know I could do this.
Yeah, I didn't know I could do this. It's like taking control, recognizing, oh, I do have that strength, but let me watch it, that I don't do damage with it.
Yeah, I didn't want to fall to their level.
Yeah,
I didn't want to hurt people. I never did. And I still don't. That's
mm,
why I control myself.
yes.
That that's what defines a person from being evil or good is making that choice
Mm.
of letting it or letting that emotion control you or letting yourself control the emotion for you. That makes a good person or a bad person.
Let me say that back to you so that you could hear it. We can have it together with Jean Dash. That for you, a good person is someone that can make a choice not to hurt other people, to control the violence.
Yeah.
That's important to you, that choice. We're going to need to stop in a minute or so. And I want to give us a chance to just take a couple of breaths and see what we've made so far.
Hmm.
Wondering, let's see if we could just breathe together. We had quite a journey there.
Yeah, I guess I had a lot of stuff inside me that I wanted to get out.
Well, it seems like not only wanting to get it out, but really wanting to communicate to me and to Jean Dash and to
Yeah.
about what you've experienced and who you are and what you've learned so far. And it seems like a real turning point for you of recognizing this leech of feeling alone and feeling unloved. And this leak that we talked about of seeing where the leak is, that leak of, we said connectedness, but a leak of a lot
Hmm.
of things, like the moments of happiness as a child when you were in the red basket and your dad was pushing you around, and when you were watching the washing machine go around, and when you were spinning the wheel on your toy, and you were hammering the
Yeah.
window, and those moments when you feel creative and you feel like you could use things in a different way and you could be your own person in a creative way rather than feeling weird or not belonging. Instead of that, feeling like, oh, let's see what I can do. Let's see what I can think. Let's see what I can make.
Yeah.
And those were such important experiences. And you don't want them to leak out with this leak, right? And so you and Jean Dash are locating the leak. There's one more thing that I'd like to share with you before we stop, and that's
Hmm.
a memory that I have of of was when I was an adult, a young adult, but I was afraid of the ocean, afraid of drowning. I'm not a good swimmer, and my friend said, "Oh, the ocean is wonderful. Just relax." And I couldn't relax in the ocean. And she stood there and I
Mm.
was floating, and I was knowing that she was watching. If a wave came, or I wouldn't float out too far. And it was such a wonderful experience of just being able to float and know that somebody was watching over me. And I wish that for you.
Um,
I would love that for you. And I think it's possible. And maybe Jean Dash can watch over you and you can let go a bit.
that's what I've been wanting
Yes,
from the start.
yes,
I hope I can reach that state of mind of peace and just fixing things, putting things right.
yes, yes.